And this is the Vatican. Inside of this, on the other side of this wall, is another country within a country. And we are here at the Vatican. And this is our tour guide in front of us. We're a group of about 16 people. So this is a representation of the Vatican, which has an official population of 1,000 people. Many of you know the Vatican is its own country. I believe it's the smallest country. So right now, currently, there are 2 popes who live in the Vatican. And this is the first time that happened in, I think, ever. Simply because normally the pope remains the pope until he dies. But remember the last pope, he resigned. I don't remember why he resigned, so we are so gonna Google search that. So he's still alive, so therefore he still lives here. And the current pope lives here. The pope who is also, I think, another first, from Argentina. So Michelangelo was one of the architects who designed St. Peter's Basilica. And St. Peter is buried here. And the dome is still one of the largest domes ever built. And to me, a lot of that is still surreal because it just reminds you about how old and ancient and biblical all of this is. That the same people we read about in the holy text of the Bible, they actually walked this planet and lived here, died here, buried here. So it's like, regardless of whatever your religious background is, many scholars do not deny the fact that Jesus, Peter, the disciples existed. We walking through this ancient streets, walking through these ancient streets. Turn up, 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 turn up. Getting our holy on. Getting our holy on. Getting our holy on. This one here is the Egyptian Museum. So what that really means is that a lot of things that were stolen from the pyramids in Egypt were brought here to the Vatican and used to decorate the church. This is Venus. She represents Mother Earth and Mother Nature. This ceiling is an illusion. It's all flat, but made to look like a sculpture using light and shadow technique. In this tapestry, if you look at this, his eyes and his body seem to follow you. It's called a multi-focus perspective. And it's a technique. Yeah, look at that. His body is still facing us, as well as his eyes. Wow. So the Vatican was really the home of the Pope. And this was just a hallway. So it goes to show like how wealthy the church is and was. This is not a public space.
We're going to see in the Basilica of St. Peter the statue showing the Virgin Mary holding the body of Christ. You know, the statue was so beautiful that nobody could believe that Michelangelo, 21 years old, was the real artist. This is why he left his name written on, to show that he was the artist of the period. The Pope was very impressed by Michelangelo's skill, like everybody, and immediately the Pope asked Michelangelo to make his burial monument. So the first thing the Pope did, he asked him to create his burial monument for the new Basilica of St. Peter. And Michelangelo made a project with more than 50 statues composing a pyramid for the tomb of the Pope. But then after a few years, the Pope changed his mind. He said to Michelangelo, I'm not interested in the tomb anymore, I want you to paint the ceiling. And you probably know what happens. Michelangelo was not very happy with that. At that time, he considered himself only a sculptor. At the same time, he was very upset that he could not finish the tomb of the Pope. He made the Moses, which is one of the statue that was made for the tomb. And so he refused and went back to Florence. He was in Florence for 2 years. The Pope insisted many times, and finally, in 1508, he was able to convince Michelangelo to return. And only in 4 years, between 1508 and 1512, Michelangelo was able to paint the ceiling of the chapel, 120 feet long. More than 500 figures painted on the ceiling. Even today, it's hard to believe how one man was able to do anything like this.
So we just finished seeing the Sistine Chapel, and it took him about 4 or 5 years to complete it. 4 years to complete the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo. So my question to y'all was, what y'all been doing for the past 4 years? We all need to get it together as a group. Okay, so don't feel too bad. He had like about 5 to 6 assistants helping him, okay? So don't feel too bad about your lives right now. You too can get help. He had like 5 or 6 assistants helping him, like Michelangelo. So that's what I'm saying. You can get help and get it together. There's still time. There's still time for any project. Get y'all some help. Get some help. St. Peter's Square, one of the largest public squares in the city. Now when they say the city, I don't know if you mean the city of Rome or the Vatican. Going into St. Peter's Basilica. And this church took over 200 years to complete. It went under many different architects, to include Michelangelo. 50,000 people can fit in this church. 50,000 people. This is the original mega church. See the words up there? Every letter is 6 feet tall.
Every time the Pope died, his body was always embalmed. It was mummified and put in a coffin. If later on the Pope was either beatified or canonized, the body was taken out from the coffin and displayed in a glass bottle.
Wow. Pope John the 23rd. That is his real body. And he's still wearing the clothes that he wore during his funeral, 1962. There are 7 popes displayed this way. So they're pretty much mummified. But that's the real body. And it's an old tradition to touch the foot of St. Peter inside the Basilica. You can see how it's pretty much worn away. Bronze canopy designed by Bernini is over 100 feet tall. Okay, now we're back in Italy. We just left the Vatican. St. Peter's Square is a neutral space, so it belongs to both. Where you see the Swiss Guard right there, that's the Vatican. Look who we meeting up in these streets.
Another video.
Another video.
This is another video.
You're starring all up and through these videos.
I'm a special guest, even here, even in Rome. This time we are in Rome, okay?
We're in Rome.
Not Civitavecchia Port.
So clearly, Corinne is starving. She's starving. We starving, y'all.
My starving face.
But this is what happened when we got rushed through this tour because, you know, 2 hours or so. This is Navarro Square. Beautiful.
That's my jam.
How come I don't see no money in it? Are we supposed to throw money in it? We don't even know if we're supposed to throw money in it. We don't see no signs that say don't throw the money, so here goes nothing.
Okay, look at this camera. And then I'm gonna take a picture of us while we're looking at that camera.